Om Shanti. So, today Baba is asking us to be soul conscious. And yesterday there was somebody asking me whether they are behaving very insensitively by not mourning or being sorrowful about all the souls that are leaving bodies at these times. So, do you feel sorrowful about the state of affairs? You feel bad, you feel sad. And then, so we need to understand something in this regard. So, because it's a question that we are faced with, and Baba always says, don't be sensitive, but be sensible. But more often than not, we end up being sensitive. And BKs are the most sensitive people on earth. If you can, feel Baba, who you can't even see, you ought to be very sensitive. Yes? Otherwise, how can you experience the one you can't even see? So obviously, you are very sensitive. That's why you are a BK. So the most sensitive people come to Baba, and then Baba tells, stop being sensitive. So that becomes very difficult. And then every time we want to be soul conscious, we grapple with our morality and so is this not rude or is this not insensitive to just say that, okay, souls are leaving bodies, what is the big deal? Yes, so sometimes we grapple with these questions. Now, there is a very beautiful saying, and I always quote it, and it says, you can either be right or you can be happy. And there are various interpretations of this saying, but today I want to look at it like, we have been taught that the right way to be is to be unhappy. And the way we have been conditioned, the moment we are happy, we feel there is something wrong with it. And we feel whenever we are unhappy, we feel we must be doing something right. So we are being sensitive, we are being humble, we are being polite, we are being the good one, we are being the sufferer. And that's a good thing to be. That's the right thing to be. That's our training. And in India, there is a very interesting practice. So if you laugh too much, they will stop you. And they'll tell you, don't laugh too much, otherwise you will have to cry. So we have a problem with being happy. We have been trained to not be happy. And there is some magical logic by which we think that if we are unhappy, then all the problems in the world are getting solved just because we are sorry about it. So, we have been trained, conditioned into this thought process where we think that all the problems in the world are because I am happy. And the moment I stop being happy and I start feeling sorry, magically all the problems will get solved. So this is a very deep conditioning, and there is something very so deep about it, we don't even realize it. And so the only right way to be is to be unhappy. So either you can be right or you can be happy. This is how it goes. So whenever you are happy, you are wrong. That's why people have a problem with BKs, because they are happy. They are happy when somebody is born, they are happy when somebody dies. Baba says, Amma mare to bhi halwa khao, Bibi mare to bhi halwa khao. So, so then there is a problem, because that's not how the world operates. And then you live amongst body conscious people, and then they all look at you and stare at you if you are happy when everybody is unhappy, and then they point fingers at you for being happy, and then you also start thinking maybe there is something wrong with me. Yes, so I will tell you, in the initial days when the yajna started, so there were so children used to come to Baba, and then amongst those children there would be mothers who were in mourning. So when they were mourning, they used to wear black clothes and used to always keep crying. So that was a tradition. So, and they wanted relief. So they came to Baba because they were in mourning and they wanted relief from this mourning. And then they came in black clothes and they always kept crying. So Baba made it a rule that nobody who wants anything from Baba can come in black clothes. So you have to come in white clothes, and then you have to smile. So you cannot cry and come to Baba. So that was the rule. Now, why was this rule made? Because, if you call out to somebody's wisdom, it is very difficult that they listen to you. But if you make it a rule, people follow. So Baba made it a rule. And then it was very easy to change their state of mind. And they wanted happiness, but they couldn't leave the practices of the social practices, and then those social practices sustain their state of sorrow. So Baba changed the social practice, and then the state of sorrow also kind of changed because of that. So Baba says also this feeling sorrowful is a social practice. It's a social practice that we engage in. And what you have to do is understand that if you want to give something to somebody, first you have to have that. And if you lose your happiness because somebody is sad, then how do you pull them into happiness? So the world needs more of happy people, more of powerful souls, more of souls with, tolerance and internal strength to deal with the times that we are going through. And Baba says, in your strange ideas of morality, don't start taking sorrow. And just like I yesterday said, that nothing is ever lost. So don't become body conscious. There is this body consciousness. No, they lost this and they lost that. So you remember the truth and you stay in a stable state. Now, this doesn't mean don't do what you can. Do everything. Do whatever you can. You feel sorry for somebody, help them. Help them spiritually, help them physically, help them heal their wounds. But then do it in a soul conscious state. What is a soul conscious state? A soul conscious state is when you are in touch with your original powers and virtues. So a soul conscious state is when you are in the state of awareness, peace, love, purity, and power. So when you are in touch with your virtues, then you perform an action, it is good karma. And if you're not in that state and you perform an action, it doesn't end up to be good karma. Now let's understand this. Why does it not end up to be good karma if you're doing something in a soul, in a body conscious state? Now let's say you decided to give a course to someone who was sad and feeling bad. Now you understand the importance of spiritual seva. So instead of thinking about helping them in some other way, you thought that let me give them the course. Okay. And you tried telling them that you are a soul and God is the supreme soul, and you tried to do these things. Now, 5 days later, they stop picking your call. And 6th day, they tell you, what rubbish is this? I don't want to listen to all of this stuff, and you please let me alone and mind your own business. How do you feel about it? Yes, so if you did it in body consciousness, it will so you will radiate the opposite of what you wanted to give to that soul. Yes, if you're not doing it in awareness. So that is why, we talk about being peaceful and loveful and pure while giving the lessons. But the most important thing is being knowledgeful. So whenever you are doing a karma in soul consciousness, you are first knowledgeful. And what is the knowledge about? The knowledge is that the result of my karma is not determined by the outcome. The result of my karma is determined by how efficiently and how virtuously I do it. So if you are still outcome oriented, then you are not knowledgeful. So you must understand that people who are very successful, so-called, who have received a lot of outcome, may not go to heaven. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will go to heaven, because their outcome is on the external side. Yes, drama favored it and they got it. But then if you have really maintained that state inside, you will go to heaven. So while you are giving the lesson, you should know that my success doesn't depend on this soul getting the lesson, because that soul will get the lesson or not get the lesson according to its destiny. But my karma is about giving it in a detached and loving manner. So when you are in awareness, when you are in knowledge, state of knowledge, then you can be in the real sense peaceful, loveful, powerful, because otherwise also we are peaceful, loveful, powerful. Who is bad? You are all good, soft-spoken, nice people sitting here. Nobody is not peaceful, loveful, powerful. We can all be in all of these qualities in a very egoistic manner. Yes, so when you are soul conscious, you are always loveful. It doesn't change. It doesn't change according to the outcome or how the other person is reciprocating. It doesn't change according to that. And when you're body conscious also, you're very loveful, but then you can get very snappy in a second. So that is the difference. So Baba is talking about being soul conscious, and then today Baba is talking about being a Karam yogi. And Baba says that somewhere, we have had this idea that you can be either spiritual or, a householder. So there is an idea that people have floated, that you either leave the house and go to the jungle and meditate, or you live in the house and be vicious and be in the clutches of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. Yes, in the sannyas marg, every other path apart from what Baba is giving us is a sannyas marg. So meditation was done by sannyasis until Baba came. Okay, so monks are sannyasis, everybody is a sannyasi. So the sannyas mark says there is karam sannyas. And what is karam sannyas? Means you give up karma. But Baba says you are on the field of karma. This is karam kshetra. So you cannot give up karma. Now the interesting thing about sannyas marg is they give up cooking, but they don't give up eating. So, so a sannyasi will decide not to work, not to cook. But then he doesn't say, from today I won't eat. So, and the interesting thing is if you have to eat, then you have to cook and have to work. So this is karam kshetra. You have a body to sustain. You have a man and buddhi, so they need to be used. You cannot refrain from karma here. But Baba says what you have to do is karam yog. That is, you come into action not in body consciousness but in soul consciousness. And when we say soul consciousness, again I want to underline knowledgefully first. You should always be in awareness while you are coming into action. Always remember the one you are interacting with is a soul with a sanskar. The scene you are interacting with is a scene in the drama which will change after some time. You give in your best and then you relax. So always come into action in this knowledgeful state which will ensure peace, stability, purity, happiness, everything. So Baba says you don't have to give up on karma, but you have to change the way you do your karma. Okay? So it's not your moral duty to get sad when somebody is sad. Or let's say a child lost a parent. A child lost both parents. Even in this extreme scenario, your being sad is not helping the situation in any way. So be knowledgeful. Do the thing that is effective. And don't just do things because you have been morally trained into it. So Baba says, be a karam yogi, do the knowledgeful thing in that situation. You want to adopt the child, adopt that child. Who is stopping you? You want to ensure a good future for him, which you can't because you cannot ensure anything. But you want to do your bit, you do it. If you think it is your bit. These are very important questions you need to ask yourself. And if you don't feel it is your bit, then don't just, spoil the environment of the world by playing your moral card and, just letting other people know you're a good person by shedding some crocodile tears. And I mean every word of what I'm saying. So these are crocodile tears that we are shedding. So this is something that we want to, and I will tell you one thing, there is a mother who doesn't cook for her children. Yes, she doesn't cook ever for her children. Her maid does it, and whenever the maid is not there, the children eat bread and biscuit and whatnot. And then she was very sorrowful about this one child who lost his parents, and she said, who will feed him? So I said, the baker, he feeds your children too, or the maid. So they can feed the child. So she said, Didi, you're very rude. I said, no, I'm just being truthful. So the child won't be better off with you. So you please don't worry. So, so then she said, probably you're right. So I said, we are not able to carry our own burden. Why do you have to unnecessarily try to behave like you really care? So just go inside and see how much you care, and that will be dictated by what you can do in actual practice. Really what you are capable of doing for somebody. And I tell you, it's not easy. You can't even be sweet to somebody who is doing everything for you for 5 days, let alone doing something for somebody. Just being sweet to people who are doing everything for you is being difficult these days. Just check this. Are you sweet to people who are doing everything for you? Then what does it say about your capacity to do something for somebody? So let's work on that capacity. And that capacity is reduced and almost lost in this false sense of morality that we are trained into. So, just feel guilty, feel ashamed, feel sorry, do nothing. So before you do, you have to be. And if you start not being because of these conditionings, then you will never be able to do anything. And what I have discovered on the spiritual path is doing something consistently is a big feat. Doing something sporadically is not that difficult. But doing something consistently is a very big deal. You want to be peaceful, 5 minutes, good enough. You want to be peaceful one day, okay. You want to be peaceful always, tremendous effort. Anything you want to be, you want to speak, you want to do, doing it consistently is a big deal. And Baba says, work on that. And these things that come up, these, whether it is right or wrong, or, whether it is fair or unfair, these questions keep coming up. And these are all the questions that Maya is giving you. And today Baba is talking about Maya. And Baba says that Maya is like that jinn. So there is a story of a jinn, or I don't know how a jinn is translated in English. So there is a story of a jinn, or you call it a good ghost probably. So the way it is put in stories. So that jinn tells a person that you give me work or I will eat you up. So then the person, whatever work is given to the jinn, he just completes it in a minute and then he's back. And he says, now give me more work or I'll eat you up. then finally the person comes up with an idea. He says, you keep climbing the stairs up and down, up and down. And so as soon as you reach the top, you climb down. And then you reach the bottom, you climb up. That is your job. So then the jinn was busy and he never ate him up. So Baba also says, so if you do not keep climbing up and down, that is, if you don't keep coming to me and then taking power and then taking knowledge and then conducting yourself in a knowledgeful and powerful manner all the time, then Maya will eat you up. So Baba says you also have to keep coming up and down, so whenever you are finished from here, come to me, take power, and then when you come into action, bring come into action in that powerful state. So Baba says, if you keep doing this, you will be safe from Maya. And Baba says something very nice. And there is a brother and he is currently having fever. So yesterday he called me and he said, Didi, I have fever. So I told him, you just tell yourself that I am sitting with Baba. And every time you have a weak thought, just tell yourself this one thing, I'm sitting with Baba. And he in the morning messaged that, Didi, I'm feeling much better because of this one thing. So whenever you are having a thought which is weak or which is not vicious, you just tell yourself, I'm sitting with Baba. And this is the yukti Baba gives today in the Murli. So when you're sitting with Baba, you are aware of Baba, and not even in the soul world, you just feel Baba is sitting beside you. And Baba is sitting with you, and Baba is the Almighty, and you have everything you need right here, right now. So Baba says, never allow Maya to intervene and never allow Maya to overpower, and always keep reminding yourself that you are with Baba. And Maya -1 is less powerful than Baba +1. And that one is you. So if you're with Maya, that is Maya +1. And if you leave Maya, and how do you leave Maya? You stop thinking about Maya and start thinking about who you are with. Because you get attached to anything through your man and buddhi. So when you just withdraw your attention from the problem, that is Maya -1. And when you just, with that same man and buddhi, you tell yourself, I am with Baba and I'm in a very good state. So you are Baba +1. And that is a very powerful combination. And it can defeat Maya. So this is something that Baba tells about. And today Baba is also talking about something from, this. So about sannyas dharam also Baba says that when sannyas dharam came, so when 1000 years back approximately Shankaracharya ji came, then he taught the world that the aim of life is to have mukti. So before sannyas dharam, Maya +1 is Maya plus you. So when you're with Maya, so when you're thinking about the problem, you are with Maya. Okay? Okay, fine. So now when the sannyas dharam came, they taught us that your ultimate aim of life is mukti, or get free from the cycle of birth and death. Right? Now, why do you think they taught us this? Is because they were very, there is a word in Hindi, vairagya. So they were disinterested in life. Yes. And why were they disinterested in life? Because there is sorrow in this world. So from the copper age, sorrow had begun. And then the sannyasis thought that life is equal to sorrow. So if you want to get rid of sorrow, you get rid of life. Yes, so they told that you have to meditate until you get free from the cycle of birth and death. But then Baba came, and then Baba told us something different. What is that? Baba said, life is not equal to sorrow. Vices is equal to sorrow. So lust, ego, anger, attachment, greed is where sorrow lies. So life minus vices is a life of happiness. So you don't have to get rid of life, you have to get rid of vices. So Baba says, Baba in the Murli today clarifies that in earlier times, before the sannyas marg, when people used to do devotion, then they always thought that if I do a lot of bhakti, I will end up in a world of happiness. And usually that world of happiness was depicted as Ram Rajya or Shri Krishna ka Rajya, Vrindavan. So in bhakti in earlier times, people used to talk about Bhaj Govind Chalo Vrindavan, which is you recite the name of Krishna and then you go to Vrindavan, that is the land of happiness. So people didn't want to go to the mukti or never come back earlier. But this idea was given by the sannyas marg. So Baba says that now that you have understood the secret that if you get rid of vices, then you can live a life of happiness and there would be life, but there would be no sorrow, which is the golden age. So Baba says, then you should not aim for mukti, because mukti is not possible anyway. Every soul has to come into the cycle and play its role. And Baba says, so have you seen that in normal, day-to-day conversations, we always tend to ascribe a low value to the life of organisms which have a very short span of life, like the mosquito. So Baba says a mosquito is held to be valueless because it just takes birth and dies. So there is no lifespan. So a mosquito's life is said to be valueless. So Baba says if you stay in the soul world for a very long time and then you come at the end, then your life is very similar to the life of a mosquito. So you shouldn't aspire for that kind of a life. You should aspire to come from the beginning and live the life of pure joy and happiness, and also do a lot of work in this confluence age, be Baba's helpful soul, and then you should think highly about yourself. Why do you want to sit there up in the soul world and not come back? So you don't have to be thinking like a coward. So Baba says these things today in the Murli. And Baba also talks about, in the blessing today, Baba talks about seeing situations as, challenges in a game. So just like, in a game, if knowingly you place hurdles and then you cross them and then you feel like the winner. Now Baba says when drama is giving you hurdles, why don't you see it as a game? It's a spiritual game. And you see that you are crossing each hurdle and you're becoming a winner. But the beautiful thing about a game is a good player practices. A good player doesn't go and play a game without practice. And if you listen to the interviews or read the life history of great players, then you will know how much they practice and how much attention they give to their practice. So Baba says, if you have to play this spiritual game well, then you have to, in Amrit Vela, fill yourself with virtues and powers. That is your practice. And if you don't fill yourself with knowledge, virtues, and powers, and you go and try to win the game, then that game is already lost. So this is something that Baba is pointing out today. This is a game. You have to have the attitude of a game. And the second is you have to have the attitude of a good player. And a good player always practices. So that is it. And then in the slogan, Baba says, if you listen and relate the worldly news, then you are kind of filling yourself with rubbish. So the worldly news is, and I always think about news and, you know, what is the shelf life of a news? So a news, it doesn't take even a split second for a news to change, and you are trying to get hold of that news and share it, and I don't know, do what with that news, which you can't catch hold of. So, and these days, even a WhatsApp forward, you forward it to somebody, they say, this is purana ho gaya ye. This is in circulation since 3 days. You received it today. You are very old fashioned. So, you cannot catch hold of a WhatsApp forward, let alone a news. So Baba says all, and there is another saying, good news is no news. So good news never make it to news. So it's all the bad stuff. And a continuously changing bad stuff is something you don't want to pursue. So Baba says listening and talking about news is just putting your head into rubbish. So at least have this one dharana today. Stop listening to news. I did it way back, like 10 years back, and I will tell you, even if you don't listen to anything, you still get a lot of news, which is very difficult to handle, and let alone if you go and listen to it. So I don't think I've skipped any news, and I have not heard any news for 10 years. So even if you don't make an attempt, you still get so much that you have to clear your head. And if you go and listen to it, it's altogether a different story. So this is something in the Murli today, I forgot one point which Baba has underlined, and it's very important. Baba says that when you remember Baba, you imbibe the points that Baba is giving you. Gyan ki dharana. So you get the knowledge, but that knowledge becomes part of your awareness if you sit in Baba's remembrance. And just like, in Sunday's Murli, Baba talked about how if you don't chew your food, then the benefit of the food is limited to its taste. So you only tasted it, but the kind of power it could give you would come only if you chewed it and you digested it. So Baba says, when you sit with a thought, so whenever you get a point, and then you sit with that point in your buddhi, and you sit in silence connected with Baba and churn over it, then you become an embodiment of that point. So just like it's important to chew your food, it is very important to sit in the awareness of Gyan in silence. Very important. And Baba, so let me give you an example of Gyan ki dharana. So, many people have asked me this question. So, what is imbibing the points of knowledge? So, Baba has given us a knowledge that you are a full stop, Baba is a full stop, and drama is a full stop. So, whatever happens, you apply a full stop to it. Now, if you are able to do that, then it is Gyan ki dharana. So, if you are a bindu, you should not apply a question mark. You should apply a full stop. But if you are not able to do that, then you have not understood that the drama is a point, I am a point, and Baba is a point. So if you have actually imbibed that you are a point, Baba is a point, and drama is a point, then you will be able to apply the full stop. This is dharana. So the knowledge of a point is applied in applying a point to every situation. So if you keep saying, I am a point, and why is this happening and why is that happening? So that is not Gyan ki dharana. So Baba is telling us everything. Sit with these thoughts. Now, when you sit in meditation and you think about applying a full stop, you will not be able to. But if you sit in meditation and think deeply that you are actually a point and that everything else is just part of drama, then when you come into practice, you will be able to apply a full stop. Okay? So, how the practice is different and the application is different. So when you come into action, it reflects in how you behave. And when you sit in meditation and dwell on these points of knowledge, then it will bring you to that place where how you behave is different. Okay. Om Shanti.